Okay, right, back to my theory. So I'm going back um, to the connection between um, the Torso murders and move. So we're going to move a little bit forward as well into the facts, not the stories, not the papers, but what can be shown. Right, this is the chat box again. What it gives us. The Thames Torso murders were recorded between the 1870s and late 1880s. Multiple cases, dismembered remains found in the Thames and around London. Okay. Now, I'm going to write a book about all this at some point and put it forward. It's going to be based, it's going to start with the Torso murders, but it'll go back as well from there to show forensically, because I believe they used the forensic training to hide the crimes, the police at the time. So I'm bringing it forward now on the Ripper side of it, and if I was to write my book, it would probably start in Cleveland Street, right? I'm not going to put any names out there, but an agent would be sent to the courier who could work for a French madam. I got that from the 1988 mini-series on Jack the Ripper. There was a French woman, no reason for her to be there, and then I looked into it, and there were French madams that run the brothels. That was when, for a man who wanted a woman, not a man wanting a man. So we go back and watch that series as well, because I think it starred Michael Caine and Lewis Collins. It's a really good one. This is where they blend everything into one, which shows you the case. So they would send an agent into the brothel where the young courier was, and she was a working girl as well, so she'd have been working in the French madam's brothel, and they would slip her, this is my story and my theory, a Mickey Finn. Now there's a film that Non-Stop talks about a Mickey Finn. I didn't catch the name of it, so I think Peggy Mount was in it. And the Mickey Finn, let's just say it's gelsemium. Because I've been looking at gelsemium in this case, and I know the effects mimic at the start. Alcoholic, makes you look like you're drunk. So that would be a good excuse if somebody'd give it a drink and put the gelsemium in the alcohol, right? Because this would be my book, what I would write, and then she would be ill. And if there's a hospital nearby, helpful if it was a training hospital, and he was in the medical profession, take her to the hospital, because she'd start having headaches and feeling a bit dizzy. So he would take her to the hospital, possibly. And while in the hospital, because of the gelsemium and it's fatal, she passes away. Now in 1823 they brought a law out that a body that hasn't been claimed can be used by for studying in studies. So that would fit into what I would make my book, and the theory in my book. I'd have the anatomy students dissecting her, but to put a little bit of terror in it to stop people looking to see what's happened to people, you'd possibly get rid of the body parts. Now, the body parts have been found near a bridge and landing points, so on the Thames. So somebody had to get there. Now, in the 1988 series, it's a coach is mentioned, and the coach has a royal crest on the side. If you watch that programme, you'll see it. So nobody's going to stop it. Now that would mean it was possibly used in the royal stables. And it's a man called John Netley. Now John Netley supposedly existed. He happened to die though. Strange circumstances. He fell off his seat on the coach and his wheels run him over. It's like the bloke that that commits, I can't say that, done himself in with a shotgun. He shot himself 40 times. Anyhow, we're going on to some of that. So they'd use a coach to throw the body parts in the River Thames. Now, that's my film or book that I would be writing, and that's what I think possibly happened. I have no proof it happened. The chat box changes every time I ask it questions. So there was multiple cases, dismembered remains found in the Thames and around London. Yeah, they weren't hidden if they were found in the Thames, and found around London. I think one of them was in a garden, which was interesting because originally the chat box had told us that Mary Shelley never lived in London, but on another site I've seen that Mary Shelley's grandson lived in the house, and now it says it was a relative, but it wasn't London, and body parts were found in a big garden of hers when she was at a big house. But this originally, when I looked into it, said it was a house in London, and the grandson lived in the house. She'd a long time gone away. Now she was the one that wrote Frankenstein, so anatomy again plays a big part in this for me. No single killer ever identified. Was it identified? Well, they wouldn't. They're ticking their own boxes. It's a cover-up, and it's as simple as that, and as horrible as murder, and the violation of the bodies. Just no single killer ever identified. The cuts in some cases suggested knowledge of anatomy. This was noted at the time by medical men, right? So they even had to admit that knowledge of anatomy could have been there. Now that was admitted in the Jack the Ripper case as well. The Whitechapel murders, 1888. Now that's also a big fuss is made by somebody in the coroner's court in the 1988 mini-series, Jack the Ripper mini-series, right? The Canonical Five, a term created later, not at the time. Yeah, top secrets are buried for 100 years before they come out, so we'll leave that in. Maybe cover stories as well. The victims, Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Edrose and Mary Jane Kelly. Liz Stride was the only one found outside in my story. And also I believe Catherine Eddowes was the third victim, not the fourth. And Mary Kelly, no, she was the one that got away. Mary Kelly got away. And I believe Catherine Eddowes' body was used to stage a crime scene. With no proof that it was ever in the house. It's newspapers, again, sensationalising things. Maybe that didn't exist. Okay, the injuries focused on the throat in the Ripper case, and abdominal mutilation, in some cases organs removed again. Well, that's mutilation again. I know the Pinchin Streets were more horrific, but you've got organs removed again. Anatomy again. Medical opinions at the time were divided. Some said skill, others said basic knowledge. Well, basic knowledge would be a student, and a student can't be blamed here if he didn't have anything to do with the murder, and he just thought it was somebody that had genuinely died on the street, and they were bringing the body in because nobody had claimed the body. So the student, that fits with basic knowledge. Now, that would be, it's awful to say it like this, but a brilliant way to get rid of a body in plain sight. You know, they'd bury that body and nobody had ever been the wiser that it was a missing girl from the Madam's brothel. So that will go into my story as well. I would write that in as theoretical fiction. It's all fiction. The police, the Metropolitan Police and the City of London Police worked separately and caused chaos. Well, they would, wouldn't they? They didn't want anybody to know they were part of it. So, for me, that fits. The graffiti, the Gilson Street graffiti, there's only the police seen it, was found near a piece of apron linked to Catherine Eddowes. Well, I think that she was killed while she was at work and she was wearing her apron, which means it was a lot earlier than they said. Hence, she was the third victim and Liz Stride the fourth. That's what's going to be in my story anyhow. The graffito, the Gilson, the writing on the wall. Yeah, well, that's interesting because I just watched, what was it, James Bond, the writing on the wall, and Her Majesty's Secret Service. The Gulson Street was found near a piece of apron. Yeah, right, I wrote on that was Catherine working at the time, so I'll let that one go now. The writing was removed on orders of Charles Warren. Now, I'm getting all this from the chat box, so I take it with a pinch of salt that it's truth, but it's near enough for my fictional story. And Charles Warren, orders of Charles Warren, I think he was in charge of the case at the time, and I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole just yet. The reason they didn't want any fear or public disorder and anti-Jewish riots. Now, the writing was believed to have been Masonic, and we know that the Cleveland Street, there was people that were from the Masonic Lodge in the Cleveland Street situation, scandal, and they were being bribed. Well, one of them was a high profile fella that worked again in the stables for the Prince of Wales at the time. I mean, he went to buy horses, I can't remember where it was, and he took him with him, this fella, this Lord, I think it was Lord Somerset, You can get that from Wikipedia in the Cleveland Street scandal. Now the next year, 1889, right, so that they were still trying to suppress the evidence from Pinchin Street to the Jack the Ripper case before it broke. So they didn't want it connected to the case. But that fella that said he was a 33 degree, he said it was about bribery. That's why I looked for bribery. And hey, we've got it in Cleveland Street scandal. And the Telegraph Boys, the all-male brothel in London, clients linked to high society, one name rumoured but never proven, is Prince Albert Victor. Wrong prince. That's me Llewellyn Code. No charges. Well, that's wrong, because Lord Somerset was in court, and I think who went to prison for it. Later on, he wrote a story. He wrote a book, Dorian Gray. Now that fella liked men as well, and he went to prison for 2 years for writing that story because it had like too much information in it that could have affected the Cleveland Street scandal. It was close. It was written about it. So that shows they were writing books at the time. But his book was so near the mark that he ended up in court because of it. I think I'd have him in me storyline as well. Oh God, he's a famous writer at the time. I think it was, but he got 2 years hard labour. But I don't know who gave us Prince Albert Victor. I'm sure it was something to do with the royal family. Give you Prince Albert Victor. He couldn't have been there because they had proof, because he wasn't there. But you've got to ask yourself, who else was there? Why would you need an alibi if you hadn't done anything wrong? So there's gone to no charges anyhow. Prince Albert Victor, no charges. Somerset was Masonic. This was against high-ranking figures. Some involved left the country. The case was not fully pursued. They are suppressed. Was not fully pursued. Who ordered them not to pursue it? The police at the time. Some high-ranking figures. Yep. The press reported carefully. Yep. Not sensationalise it. Didn't suit their narrative. Legal risks. Well, if you're telling the truth, how can it be illegal? Social pressure limited what could be printed. Now this is all off the chat box again, which I find really. I was quite impressed with what he gave us, even though it threw my 2.5 hour story out. Because I wrote a proper story about it and it went missing. It just switched itself off. He'd done that for 2. So with that, anybody that's got any information or would like to tell me, because there's a lot of Jack the Ripper sites out there, but none of them want to get in touch. I watched one the other day about Tumblety, and he'd come to the country, but that's Dr. Cream for me. He was always going to be the patsy, and if we go back to I have to go back to 1878 to consider that and a reason for it, because in 1881, I think I've mentioned, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Well, he was sentenced to life in prison. he got out after 10 years and come back to London. Yeah, so I've got that one. Actually, there might be another one with all this information in it. I don't know, because everything got knocked off and it's all back to front, inside out. Bit of chaos. They like a bit of chaos, these people. What a wicked web. Anyhow, I hope you enjoy that. It's a long one. Sorry about that. Yeah, anybody got any information that can rectify anything that I've done? I would be happy to hear it. Thank you anyhow. Right, bye.